Hey, and welcome to this lesson on conjugates and radical expressions. So our essential question and objectives for this lesson: how do we use the conjugate to simplify radical expressions? What we'll be doing is dividing radical expressions. We're going to find the conjugate and then simplify the radical expressions. Our standards: apply and extend the properties of exponents to solve problems with rational exponents. Write expressions in equivalent forms to solve problems, and extend the knowledge of rational functions to rewrite in equivalent forms. So remember that a conjugate is a result of writing the sum of two terms, so a binomial, as a difference instead of a sum. So writing the sum as a difference instead, or vice versa, you could write the difference as a sum. For example, the conjugate of 4 plus the square root of 2 is 4 minus the square root of 2. And vice versa, the conjugate of 4 minus the square root of 2 is 4 plus the square root of 2. Conjugates can be used when we do not want radicals in the denominator. So we do not want radicals in the denominator of our radical expressions. So we divide radical expressions. We need to rationalize the denominator. That means take out all the radicals. So we make sure that there are no radicals are in the denominator. When you multiply, now the reason why conjugates help us is because when you multiply two conjugates together, the radicals will disappear. All right, so for example, we have two conjugates here. So 5 minus square root of 7 and 5 plus square root of 7. So what happens when we multiply them together? So we have 5 minus the square root of 7, 5 plus the square root of 7. We multiply them together. We're going to take the first term, multiply it by all the terms in the second binomial. So 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times root 7 is plus 5 root 7. And then we're going to take the second term in the first binomial and multiply it by the two terms in the second binomial. So negative root 7 is negative times 5 is negative 5 root 7. And then negative root 7 times root 7 is just going to be negative 7. Because a square root times a square root is just the number inside the square root. Our middle two terms will add to 0. Positive 5 root 7 minus 5 root 7 is going to give us 0. So we get 25 minus 7. If we do that correctly, we will get 18. So the product of the two conjugates is 18. So 5 minus the square root of 7 times 5 plus the square root of 7 is 18. So knowing what we just did with the radical expressions, or the conjugates, when we multiply the conjugates that they disappear, how can we use that to rationalize the denominator? Well, let's multiply. So if we want to sorry, I almost jumped ahead of myself. If we want to rationalize this denominator, so square root of 5 minus the square root of 2, we can actually multiply the denominator by the conjugate. So square root of 5 plus the square root of 2. Now remember, I can multiply this expression by anything over itself, because anything over itself is 1. As long as I multiply this expression by 1, I'm good. So I'm going to multiply it by the square root of 5 plus the square root of 2 over the square root of 5 plus the square root of 2. So essentially that equals 1. So I'm not changing the value of this expression at all. So that's important. Whatever you multiply the denominator by, you have to multiply the numerator by. So let's start with the numerator. If I do 3 times the square root of 2 times the square root of 5, I get 3 square root of 10. And then plus 3 square root of 2 times square root of 2 will give me 3 times 2, and I get 6. Now if I go to the denominator and I do, let's just go to the side here, 5 minus 2, or sorry, square root of 2 times the square root of 5 plus the square root of 2. Square root of 5 times the square root of 5 is 5. Square root of 5 times the square root of 2 is plus the square root of 10. Square root of 2 times the square root of 5, negative square root of 2 times the square root of 5 is negative square root of 10. And 2 times 2, or sorry, negative square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is negative 2. So my middle two terms add to 0, so I get 5 minus 2. 5 minus 2 is 3, so my denominator now is 3. So my final answer is 3 square root of 10 plus all over 3. Now, both terms in the numerator are divisible by 3, so I can divide them both by 3, and I get square root of 10 plus 2 over 1. That's my final answer, square root of 10 plus 2. For your homework assignment, let's take a look at it. Looks like the first two, you'll multiply each pair of conjugates just to get used to multiplying those conjugates together. And then for the next three, you're going to rationalize those denominators. So you're going to use what you learned about multiplying conjugates to rationalize the denominators of the next three problems. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on BBIM, text message, phone call, email, whatever's easiest for you. Meet me in the Math Cafe Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 11 a.m. If that schedule doesn't work for you, you can meet me in the Math Cafe, or you can meet any teacher in the Math Cafe from 9 to 3 every day, Monday through Friday. They'll be more than happy to help you on your assignment. And make sure you come to live class where we can talk about this a little more. Thanks. Hope you enjoyed the lesson, and good luck on your homework assignment.